happy Q2, man.
That's it. I can't believe it's already Q2.
Yeah, it's kind of a gut check moment, isn't it? Because you get to say, all right, I started out January 1st saying I'm going to have a kick-ass year. And if you divide that number by 4, are you on track? And there's no starker reality than the reality. And if you are, fantastic. If you're not, fantastic. At least you know. And you can make some course adjustments along the way to fix it.
Right.
That's why these benchmarks are so important. Time for a little self-reflection to figure out, all right, did I screw off? Did I hit my goals? Am I on track? What do I need to tweak? Excuse me for that little cough. I mute for my cough there to save your speaker systems in your cars or wherever you guys are listening.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to really figure out and dissect whether you hit your numbers, great, what worked, right? Why did you hit them? And how do we duplicate / scale that? And if you didn't hit it, why not? Was it a lack of effort? Was it a lack of execution? What was it? And once we understand what's actually getting us the results that we're getting, whether positive or negative, that's when we can really start to manipulate it and actually, start to achieve what we want to achieve.
Well, we started out at the beginning of the year talking about the simple questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how, right? And that's what really fuels this whole business. Who were you going to reach out to, right? What niche were you going to hit, right? Which is a little similar, but still different when you get to the intricacies of it. And when, I want to talk a lot about when today with the scheduling and making sure we're on track of our schedule. Where do you want to actually have business? Because it's your choice. Why? We've talked that ad nauseum, making sure you have your why there. And then how are we going to hit it? Are we going to work social? Are we going to work old school? Are we going to do what doesn't matter, right? So the who, what, when, where, why, and how, that's like the ultimate simplified business plan. And then figuring out what we can do. I think we figured out the ultimate goal for this quarter was one good appointment a week. One good appointment was what we walked through that mindset, but that's not everyone's goal, right? And do you want to do more than you did last quarter, less than you do last quarter? And that's a personal goal. Me personally, I'm going to do way less this quarter than I did last quarter intentionally. And that's just the way I feel like running it, just because I want to change my pace and change some of my priorities and focuses for this quarter. So it's not always about more. And it's not. It's about priority. And what do you want to get done?
Yeah.
So
being okay with either one, right? I mean, at the end of the day, as long as your goals align with your actions, everything is good. If that means slowing down, great. If that means picking up, great. But they have to align.
With a big ass smile on your face, and you've got to figure out what puts that big ass smile on your face, and go through the wheel of life, if you will. Chris goes through that example a lot. And where do you need to spend more time and more focus, right? Either it's the only thing you have is time, and so you have to work your time to your ultimate benefit to put a big ass smile on your face. So for my personal quarter as an example, I'm spending a lot more time. This is a quarter for me to focus more on me, right? The last quarter was forget me, and let's just go full freaking throttle and capture as much freaking business as humanly possible in the greatest moment in the history of the real estate industry for wealth creation, right? And that's what we've been beating that drum for the last 3 quarters. And I've had pedal to the metal for the last 3 quarters because of that thing, like I've been telling you guys all to do too. And it's tiring. And I've forgotten I didn't take as good care of myself as all the stuff that I could have been doing. So I'm pivoting some goals to do that. That's the beautiful thing about this industry, guys, and this business, is we get to do that. Now, I'm not going to stop working. I'm going to still do a ton of business, right? But nothing to the scale of before, because a lot of it's maintenance on a lot of stuff that we generated, right? We've got a lot of projects you're helping with.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to touch on too with you, though, as an example, is everyone's going to see there. It would be very easy at the end of this next quarter to look back and be like, oh, look how many deals Jeff got under contract with these new projects. Yeah, but what you're not paying attention to is the last year and a half, 2 years, 5 years on Schooner of work that went into it to get it to a stage that we're finally at, where now this quarter we're going to be able to say, boop, push the button, go live with it. But a lot of your personal work has already been done. Now you've got the sales force really going out and selling them for you, which we will do. And the goal, obviously, internally is we want to sell out all these upcoming projects with you guys, right? We don't want these hitting the market, open market at all. We want this to be a opportunity for all of our agents to go sell these things, which I think we will. But now it's our turn, right? You're essentially handing that ball over and saying, hey guys, here's all the units, go sell them. And yes, are you gonna benefit from that? Of course you are. But you've already put in the legwork to even get it to where it's at, where we can actually push the button and go live. And we're going to be doing that here on a bunch of projects in the near future. So this quarter is going to be crazy busy, but just less busy of actual hands-on work that you're going to have to do, and more work now for us as the sales team to go sell these things. So it's important, though, that we recognize that you've structured your business in that way, that it's allowed you to put in the work, go heads down, get things set up, so then it fosters what's about to happen.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing all of us need to be doing right now is cultivating inventory. Because when you go get inventory, what do? You put the entire marketplace to work for you. So remember, it's the employer versus the employed, right? And you're either the employer or you're the employee. And that's the simple concept that always stuck with me from a real estate mindset is, one of the two normally gets paid more, right? Either the employer or the employee, traditionally. And so if you have the mindset of you're the one that's going to create the inventory to put everybody to work, you're going to do really well. But we got to think about that. So for you, let's go back to reality for Q2. Q2 still has to be, and still is, my focus needs to be your focus too. Doesn't have to be, right? Depends on your business plan. But for those of you who want to have more control over your life and your time, inventory allows that flexibility and freedom, right? So what we need to figure out is if you wanted to totally crush it and kill it in Q3 or Q2, you absolutely can do it. But it's going to be very hard to do a ton of business if you're running buyers around all the time. You guys know this one, right? Unless they're real buyers. Let me rephrase that. It's going to be really difficult if you're running lookers around a lot. You can do it.
Even buyers, though. Even buyers, Jeff. I mean, the reality is a lot of us, including myself, have very, very well-qualified buyers that we're working with right now that it's going to take way more time, effort, and energy to find a house, get it accepted, do all the negotiations, get it through the process, and get it closed than it would be if you have a listing. We all know that. If that's the case all the time, it's certainly the case now, right? And so there's no question, qualified or not. Now, granted, at least that will eventually pay itself if played properly. You're driving lookers around, you're just wasting a bunch of money on gas and time. But I think even qualified buyers, I mean, the reality is we all have them. We all have very, very, I have several cash buyers that are struggling right now to actually find anything that they really want. And the stuff they do want, we've got to win. And that's not always possible, regardless of how much you're willing to go over ask or be cash or anything else. So the reality is...
Let's talk about that for a second, because I was talking to another agent this weekend and I busted that thought process. And I want to bust it just a little bit here, because there's a very thin line of disguise, right? Between a well-qualified, ready-to-go buyer and a well-qualified, ready-to-go looker. And to the untrained eye, they're identical, right? Here's my pre-approval letter. I have money. I am physically ready and able to purchase something. Find me this, I will buy it. Okay. Is that a buyer or is that a well-qualified looker? And guys, be honest with yourself here. If they don't have to buy, right? They may really, really want to and really, really able to, but they're still not buyers. Now, we could banter this one back, but I want to explain the ability to screw you over big time and destroy your schedule and bust your entire career and make you go to work at Walmart, right? Because especially a well-qualified, pre-approval, cash buyer, money in hand, I'm ready to pull the trigger, Mike, find me something here and I will buy it. But if I don't, it's not going to kill me. Right? They don't say that last sentence, but they're ready. So this is a big, big, big thought process when you think about your schedule, because there's nothing wrong. Now, guys, let me backtrack for just a second. Lookers become buyers. So I'm not saying I don't like lookers. They're fantastic and they're necessary to have a huge pipeline full of well-qualified lookers. But you got to really watch for that that trigger that turns them into buyers. Now, what turns a looker into a buyer?
Life.
Right? And it's called leverage. At some point in their life is a trigger of leverage that says, I need a house. I need an investment property. Now, nobody needs an investment property, or do they? If they have a 1031 where they're looking down the barrel of an $80,000 tax bill if they don't buy in the next 45 days, that's a lot different than somebody who's sitting on 400 grand in equity and says, oh, I got an equity line pulled. I could pull the trigger anytime. Find me a beach house that pays for itself. Do. Right? That's the type of person that will destroy your career. Big time.
Well, and the other challenge right now, and something that I've been starting as a qualifying question, is what is their schedule? If you have a buyer, like, I'll give you an example. We've got 4 people right now that are fully approved through Home Partners that have deadlines within 60 days, have to be out of where they currently. Now, partially it's inventory. The other part is, hey, what's your schedule like to go look at stuff? Because for 2 of them, they only have Sundays available. Well, things just got a lot harder, because if something pops up on Monday, we all know, when's it gone by? Can I go schedule a showing for Sunday? In most cases, no, it's already gone, right? And so that's been a big issue, especially with one person in particular. She's going through a divorce. Life has happened. She's got to be out, but she's a cop, and her schedule does not allow for her to go really look at anything outside of a very small window. And it has created a very hard time. So if you're not asking them about, hey, I know you need to be out. Like, these are people that have got to be somewhere. They have a timeline to be there. They're with Home Partners, they're pre-qualified. There are homes in their price point. We've got an all cash buyer, like all of the typical things align. But if they don't have the ability to actually go look at stuff, you're wasting your time, because you got no shot.
But they do. They just have to be taught. And guys, let's really drill this one home for a second here. Especially in a market like this, you have to say, look, this is how I'm running my business. If you're hiring me, you need to pay attention to what I tell you to do. And if you really want a house, this is what we have to do. If it comes out on Monday and hits the MLS at 10 o'clock on Monday, I need you to call in sick and get your ass over here. I'll go FaceTime it first with you. And if you like it, you better haul ass, because I'm going to write the contract and send in there. If you aren't willing to play these games, this is not the game for you right now. Right? Then you know what? Here's a link to Post Hyde Park Apartments. Go book another year, and then I'll see you in a year when your lease is up, right? If you really want to buy, you can't play around. This is the way this works right now. And say it as sternly and nicely as you want, but you have to educate these guys, because I don't want to waste my time as a buyer's agent. If you want a house, then listen to me, and I'll tell you. It's not always that easy, John. Maybe it's not, right? It's easy when you tell them the urgency and that the only way to get a house is this. If their kids twisted their ankle on Tuesday at 3 or at 11:30 in the morning and they're at work and they needed to be picked up, are they going to find a way to go pick up their kid at 11:30 on a Tuesday? Is there anything that you're doing that is not more important, that is more important than taking care of your kid? You're going to cancel any appointment you have. You're going to take a couple sick hours. You're going to do whatever you got to do if you're serious. Now, this is a perfect example because that is a very interested looker that would love to become a buyer. But without taking the approach, you've got to do it. You got to get to it. Or you're not a serious buyer. And I will, that's it. What's that? That is telling the truth. Option videos. Yeah, options doing video showings, right? FaceTime them, do whatever you want to do.
The challenge you have with Home Partners in particular is they actually make them certify that they've gone physically and looked at the house. So they can lie, but they'd be breaking that covenant with them because they do have to certify that they've been there.
I could run over on FaceTime with you right now, write the offer, and then get you back here at 2:30 today if you really wanted that house. So guys, this goes back to what kind of client do you want to have? And if you want one that's throwing up objections and aggravating your life, next, let me refer your ass out to somebody else who likes being aggravated, because I'm going to go find a deal that's going to work and close this week, right? Because I've got a business, I've got a family to support, I've got goals to fuel, I got a big ass smile to fund, and you're being aggravating and I don't need you in my life. Get out and go work with somebody else. I'll take half of their check and I'm going to go find somebody else who understands how business works, right? Guys, look, this is business. This is a business. You are a business owner, entrepreneur, and your choice. Be aggravated, be wealthy, right? And there's no middle ground. If you stay aggravated, you're not going to become wealthy, right? And our job is to coach you to be wealthy, not always about money, but about a balanced, big ass smile life, right? So what we push you all the time to is the who, what, when, or whys, and hows, right? What are you doing this for? And I really, really, really hope, and it can't be a hope. You need to have the number, yes, the number that you're going to have earned by June 30th. This is the game we play right now. On June 30th, you're going to have earned X dollars. This is your game. This is the only game we play, guys, is this. And do you have that number? If you don't have that number, you need to stop right now and figure out what that number looks like. And I don't care about the hows right now. I just care about the number. The hows, you know our old saying about hows, right? It's not that. It's what do you want? What is going to put a big ass smile on your face on the end of June? Push yourself to a point you've never been to before. This will probably be a highest earning quarter I've ever had, right? And that's fun, okay? And I know what I'm doing with all the cash. Do you? I'm reinvesting it, by the way, in things that will make more cash, but not trading hours for dollars, trading dollars for dollars to get to the goal of income that I want to have. And that's what I'm pushing you guys to do the same thing. Do you want to buy an investment property? You should. If you don't have some, get some. If you have some, get more. That spit off cash flow. That's the goal, guys. There's no other goal. Pay off debt, have cash flowing properties. That's life. That is the game. So you can fund the stuff you want to do with a big ass smile for the rest of your life. And then if you do it right, for the rest of your kids' lives or your loved ones' lives, so you can leave a legacy of financial freedom. Why not? Guys, we're in the best industry in the planet with wealth creation opportunities. There's nothing else you can do legally that can earn the money that you are earning in this business. And you guys all know that. And we're not going to let you squander the opportunity that's in front of you right now in the hottest real estate market in the history of all time. And it still is. Right? It will not be for very much longer. We all know that. I don't know if you've been reading any headlines, but things are changing. But I also know that property comes on the market, there's multiple offers on it. That's not always going to be the case. But while it's here, take advantage of it. And if you're not spending every waking moment to find inventory, what in the world are you doing and why? Doesn't make any sense. You know how to do it. every one of your friends has a phone. You've got their phone number. Text them, right? The simple texting, calling, skywriting, newsletters, handwritten letters, posting, daily marketing guide, comment, groups, post, text, remind, forewarn, absentee in-state, absentee out-of-state, equity plays, equity lines of credit. Come on, this isn't the class for all of that, but there's, you know this. Every one of you knows how to get inventory. There's not one of you that doesn't know how. And if any of you don't know how, please send me a message personally, because I'm going to find out which hole you've had your freaking head in for the last 3 quarters and how you don't know how to go get inventory. Okay, you know how. You know how. Every one of you knows how. Talk to people and find out if they want to sell their house. Who's most likely to sell their house? Somebody with an extra house because they don't need it. Answer, there you go. Okay. And current people that are trying to sell their house and aren't represented. There you go. Other people who should sell their house because they're sitting on equity and they haven't yet realized that they're dumb. How about people like Mike Puma that write a daily post written for himself this morning that still hasn't done anything? Right? I mean, come on. I know somewhere in your head when you were writing that, you're like,
oh,
damn it.
100%. The challenge is, again, for me, it's very specific. There's just nothing. I've spoken to Grow. We are in a position to pounce if and when the right opportunity approaches from what we want. And right now we have not found anything. And I've actually been reaching out to some folks that are off market just to say, hey, if you're considering selling, I'd like to chat. But outside of those few, there's just, my wife does not want anything else. So it's like, we gotta, we're very, very confined right now because of the kids.
Right. But what you have done is set up yourself with an equity line of credit you could tap when you want to. Right.
We have that. Yep. We've got a bunch of different things available to us for sure.
So don't, guys, look, if you don't want to move, don't move. At least you are taking advantage of the opportunity and have an equity line open so you can go pounce on something when the opportunity comes. Stay in your house. Love your house. Do it. You know what you're sitting on. And at least your leverage. I don't care if you leverage it. I do care if you leverage it or not. I don't care how you leverage it, right? For you to not pull an equity line out and go buy something that produces cash flow is dumb, right? To go buy a bigger house isn't necessarily the smartest thing to do unless you want a better house. You love your house. It works great for your family and your needs right now. So therefore, you don't need option A. You took option B. To do not A or B is the dumbest thing in the entire planet, right? So
especially right now, because getting home equity lines is going to become a lot harder pretty much right now moving forward. So if they don't jump on it soon, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get because of the new bank requirements. So just keep that in mind, that if you're talking to them and they're like, well, we might do it. No, go do it. Go get it open. Go get it done, because it's going to be significantly harder. Forget the rates for a little bit. I mean, it's just going to be much harder in the near future to get a home equity line from a bank than it is, or a credit union, than it is right now. So I would highly suggest they go jump on it.
It's the first thing that gets shut off in an uncertain environment. And it already did, because they just they just put more banking requirements on the lending institutions. I don't know if you guys know this.
So 1-to-1.
So every dollar they loan you, they must keep on the sidelines. Didn't used to be. Let me explain that. So if Mike goes and pulls $100,000 credit line on his property, the credit union or the bank who gives him that credit line has to take $100,000 out of their rentable money and put it in a closet. Now, do they like to do that? No, they don't like to do that. They like to rent their money out in multiples and leverage it and spread themselves thin, because that's just how they make money. Now, the first step is, hey, right? 1-to-1. So therefore, they're saying, all right, think about a lot of your clients that are sitting on 5, 6, 7, 800,000 in equity. They're not pulling $700,000 equity lines anymore because they got to put 700 grand in a closet. Not doing it. So you're seeing banks say max 100 grand, max 250. That's it. We're not giving you 800 grand. Nice try. This is not last June.
Well,
right? And then
you're either going to see that, or you're going to see them say, you know what, then the rates are going to go up significantly, right? We're going to start charging premiums to get money because it's got to be worth the risk, right? If we're going to take this money out of pocket, we've got to make up for that. So sure, we'll give it to you, but now you're paying a lot more for that money than you would have before. So just keep that in mind. This is a big deal, something that they did not have to do before. And so if you have someone looking, I would highly suggest they get on it, because if there's a run on these, you're going to see banks shut it down or make it significantly harder or more expensive to get.
And look, even if it goes up to 5 or 5.5% or 6%, who cares? As long as the investment you're making is making you more than 6, still do it. It's a math equation, guys. That's it. Now, yes, the 2%, those were wonderful. And I don't know if you remember hearing us screaming at the top of our lungs that you better do it now because it's not going to last long. And then now they're 3, and then now they're 4, and now they're 4.5. Soon they're going to be 5s, then they're going to be 6. Is what it is. So you didn't do a 2? Oh well. You didn't do a 3? Oh well. You didn't do a 4? Oh well. You're going to do a 5? You better. Or do you want to wait till it's 6? Your choice. But don't be buying jet skis with it. Don't be going lifting your car and putting rims and shit on your stuff. That's not what you're allowed to go do. You're only allowed to take money to put it in something that makes you more money than the cost of the money that you're borrowing. That's your rule. That's it. Okay. Fortunately, we have a lot of options on places to go put your cash in there. So back to the quarter question here. What is your goal for Q2? Do you have it? Right? You know what it costs you to live. What's Craig's big thing right now? Make sure that you have 6 months of living expenses and make sure that your debt is paid off. So if you don't have a big ass fun goal, there's your 2 goals right now. Pay off your debt, credit card debt, keep your house debt. House debt's good debt, right? Pay off any stupid debt that you have, and then make sure you have a living cushion. Because God, we all know things can change pretty weirdly, and before you know it, you're scavenging for toilet paper. Right? We all nobody ever thought that was going to happen. So do you have your 6 months of living set aside that you can survive any storm that may or may not come? Because storms come, guys. So that's
If
just
you need
financial.
if you need help with this, go to BagginsAgents.com. You'll see a section in there called the Business Plan Calculator. It will do it all for you. It'll allow you to put in your monthly expenses. It'll allow you to put in how much, whatever you want at the end of the quarter, how much is that going to cost in cash? And it's important to know that. And don't lie to yourself about the deals you're doing either. If you've got a big land deal under contract, that's great. But when is that deal actually closing? Pay attention to those things, because if at the end of the quarter I say, hey, I need $50,000 in cash, that's different than me saying, hey, I'm going to do 6 deals. Because what if those 6 deals don't close, right? Or what if it's the new projects, which you're only getting 50% of from a commission until it's all done, right? So don't lie to yourself. Let's be honest. This is you talking to you here. You're planning your business. So be completely honest about what are those transactions going to be? When are they actually going to close? One thing to get them under contract, another thing of timing that close, because this is all about how much cash do I need at the end of that quarter? And that might mean that you need more deals. If I say, hey, most of my business is going to be these new projects, great. Well, then you're going to need to do more of them, get more of them under contract, because you're only getting paid 50% right now. So if I need that cash right now, I'm not going to have it from one deal necessarily. So now I've got to do more, which is fine. But now we know that, right? And so now we can address that and we can go get it. So just be completely transparent. And that's why I love that calculator. It's not going to anyone. It's for you, but it does all the math for you. And it will lay it out exactly what you need, all the way down to your conversion rate and everything else. So use that if you want as a tool just to help you map this out. But yeah, I mean, it's important. We gotta build our plans right now and then go execute.
Let's talk about schedule for a second, because this is the most important part of this process. Is your schedule is your only job, right? That was a statement drilled into my head from as soon as I started in this business. Is the only thing you can control is your schedule, and you get to control what goes in it. You get control of what doesn't go in it, and nobody else gets that control. You are the ultimate power master of your schedule universe, right? So the simplest thing in the world, and this is what is for many reasons the best schedule on the planet, is you need to sharpen your saw, learn knowledge, tune in like you're doing right now. That's an important thing to do, right? Before that, wake up, shower, brush your teeth, right? Go through your to-do list for the day. I hope we all do that, right? I know what's my schedule is today. I know the 8 things that I'm going to make sure I accomplish today, and then I'm ready. And then I'm either participating in the morning or I'm listening to what's going on in the morning. Okay. And if I'm listening, I could passively listen and do stuff, or I can actively listen either way. And then right after this is done, between now and lunchtime is money time. Nothing happens. There's no appointments that happen. There is no home inspection that happens. There is no appraiser that needs to get in. There is nothing happens between now and lunchtime. That is money making time. That is when you prospect. That is when you go through your lead follow up. That is not when you prepare CMAs and stuff like that. This is money making time, money making. This is new contacts. This is going through your list of leads. This is pre-qualifying. This is appointment setting time. This is the time we set appointments. This is our only time to set appointments. Nothing else comes in. Hey, Jeff, we'd like to see houses. Can you do it tomorrow at 10:30? God, I would love to do it tomorrow at 10:30, but I already have an appointment with myself, right, to fuel my family. But I can see you at 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Which one's better for you? But I really need 10:30. Sorry, I'm already booked. 1:30, 3 o'clock, 5:30. Which one's better for you? Right. Sorry, I can only do 10:30. Now I have a decision to make. Personally, the moment you deviate from this schedule, you're screwed. Right? Because when I take your 10:30 and I blow off from 10 till noon, there's 2 hours. What could I do in 2 hours? Could I talk to 5 people that own a property that live in Pugosky, New Hampshire? Yes, I could find those 5 people, and one of them might want to sell their house. So you've got to stay strict. You've got to stay focused. You've got to stay on your game. And nothing happens before lunchtime, right? And you need to have the goal. It's 10 people. It's 15 people. It's 20 people. It's 30 people, depending on how high your goals are. But you cannot go to lunch until you have that number of new contacts set. That's it, right? Control your schedule. Try it for this week. Make it a point in saying, I will do nothing but income producing activities before lunchtime. That's it. And then go do lunch and then have a 1 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, and a 5 o'clock appointment. Now, what do you do in a 1 to 3 and a 5 o'clock appointment? You really only need one good appointment this week for a listing presentation or a buyer, not a looker, a buyer. Who is your buyer that's narrowed down to 3 properties that's going to pull the trigger and buy one? If you don't have that, guess what? You need to prospect more, to create more leads, to do more lead follow-up, to let the leads pop up, right? It's the popcorn, right? You just got a bunch of kernels sitting in there, turning on the heat, right? They don't all pop with it. They all go in at the same time. They're all in the same environment, but one pops when they're ready. So your idea is who's popping now? Because I only have really need for one. So which one of you is ready? Whose lender have I spoke with? How have we done our Zoom presentations already? Did we look at 100 different neighborhoods, communities, and cities? Are we down to the area and the neighborhood and the street that we want to be in? Do we know the 2 houses that are available? Have we looked at all the virtual tours and all the photos already? Have I walked you through Google Earth together? Are we on Google Maps with dropping the little yellow guy down and walking up and down the streets? Have I done that in my Zoom room? Right? And have we narrowed it down to the 2 properties I'm going to show you just to confirm you really want the one on Maple Street? Right? If you haven't done it this way, why? Why are you wasting your time? Doesn't make any sense, guys. Because I'd rather you go talk to more people and find out who is absolutely ready and whose lease is coming up on June 1st, right? And they're not renewing because they're tired of flushing $2,500 a month and ran away. And they're pre-qualified and they're ready and they're having kids or something. Who is ready to buy? If you don't have the who's ready right now and needs to and is able, then prospect and find somebody who is. Who's your listing lead right now? If you don't have somebody who's thinking about selling their house right now, freaking call people and find out who's thinking about selling their house right now. It's your job. If you don't have any, great. If you've got 6 leads, but none of them are waiting or ready, they're just thinking about it, great. But you're not going to have any money next month unless you go call some more people and find out the one person that's ready to right now. Let's stop kidding ourselves, guys. That's the point. This is the quarter. This might be our last quarter of a really great real estate market, guys. And it honestly, it probably is, right? It just is. I hope I'm wrong. But what if it is? Are you going to sit around on July 1st and say, geez, I'm tired. I'm going to chill out a little bit in Q3. Or, damn it, how did I miss it? How are rates 6%? How are listings expiring all of a sudden? How come I can't get any people to my open house? What the hell happened? What in the world? Right? Is that a possibility? Because I promise you, there's going to be one of these days in the not too distant future where that's the new reality. Then let me just remind those of you what the reality of is real estate. It's a 6-month average days on market. That means every listing you take takes on average 6 months to sell. 6 months, not hours, not days, months. And it sucks to have 4 listings in inventory and they all expire, and you're beating up other agents are saying, oh, well, no wonder, because you listed with Mike. He's an idiot. You should have interviewed with me. Let me take your listing. Oh, he overpriced you. Let me drop you 50 grand and then it'll sell. That's the reality of real estate, guys. That's the real estate market. We're living in a dream. A dream. And I just wish, Craig, and we talk about this all the time, we wish we could just go, blah, wake up, take advantage of this, stockpile cash, because when it turns around, you're going to be able to take advantage of really good opportunities. Right? No, I'm not saying there's a crash. I'm saying there's a rebalancing of real estate to normal real estate. It's absolutely going to come. But right now, it's not here. It's ridiculous. So that is the point. Like, what can we do? How can we get it to become more in your face? What else can we do, Mike, to make everybody realize it's go full throttle on this right now?
I mean, I think controlling the schedule is super important, right? Whatever your schedule is, because as much as we want you to go full throttle, and we do, that's going to look different for each of you. The requirement's going to be different for each of you. And at the end of the day, if you start sacrificing things that are super important because you're not scheduling them or you're flexing on that schedule, you're also going to put yourself at the end of the quarter maybe in a not happy spot. And that's not going to work either, right? So this is all about, if you control your schedule, and I used to be terrible at this, where my calendar lived here, I didn't put stuff physically in my calendar, and I would end up double booking, or I'd forget this, or I'd give on this because this was in my calendar and this wasn't. And over the last couple of years, I've really gotten very structured on my calendar, and it's allowed me to be way more efficient, way more effective on everything that I'm doing. And I put everything in there, and I highly suggest this, because once it's in there, now I know every day how I can, where that money-making time is. And maybe for Jeff, that's right after that morning meeting. Maybe for you, that doesn't work. Maybe you have more flexibility in the evenings. But at the same time, if I know that from 4:30 on, I'm with my kids, right? And that 4:30 to 8:30, great. Then stop lying to yourself. Block that off. Put that in your calendar, right? And now that's why I love Calendly. It's a free app, right? If you're not using it, use it. Because what I do is I don't have to be a jerk to anyone that's requesting a meeting. Everything's in my calendar. That real time blocks it off in my Calendly link. And when someone wants to book a meeting, or even with a client, hey, can you do this? Hey, tell you what, here's my Calendly link. Go pick a day and time on here that works best for you. And guess what? It's only showing them the available times that I have in my calendar. I'm not the one going back and forth with them. I'm not sitting there, oh, how about Tuesday at this? How about Wednesday? No, here it is. Go look at it. And that works as long as you're putting everything into your calendar to begin with. And I block off everything, guys. Everything. Even if it's a 5-minute thing, I'm going to block it off. And the reason I do that is because I've set things that I know throughout the day or throughout the week I want to do. I try and text my kids once a day just to make sure, hey, how's your day going, right? So I put that in my calendar. Hey, text Jason. Hey, text Jordan. Hey, text Courtney. I try and text her every day too. Just say, hey, how's your day going? And I know it happens to me, and I know it happens to you. We get super busy, and then we let those things slide. But this is all about creating a holistic lifestyle, right? Which means that my home life, my kids, their happiness is just as important as well. And if they're not happy, then it's going to throw everything off balance. So I have to balance it all. And we all are dealing with that same issue. Let your calendar help you do that. If I can stay connected to them, I'm going to stay connected to my business. Now everything is scheduled. And now I can be really, really effective during those breaks. And so now that allows me, though, when I look at that calendar and say, you know what, from 2 to 3 today, I got nothing. So maybe I don't have my pipeline isn't as filled as I want it to be. You know what? Now I'm blocking that 2 to 3 o'clock off because I don't have anything, and I'm going full throttle on 2 to 3 because it's there in my calendar, and now I have that time available. My pipeline's not where I want it to be, so I'm going to go make sure I get it to where I want it to be. Right? That allows you to pick those spots, though, where I can go hard toward. And because it's scheduled and structured, I'm not going to feel overwhelmed. I know it's there, and now I can make that conscious decision to go do it. And so I just know what it did for me. Controlling your schedule, putting everything in on that calendar will certainly help, and it'll make your life a lot easier.
Think about this, guys. And in a second, Poom, I want to walk people through how to do this, right? Where Calendly is. Let's talk about that for a second. Because think about this. I meet Mike somewhere at a T-ball game for my son, and he and Courtney are thinking about they want to buy some investment properties. Just open up an equity line. They got a couple $100,000. They're trying to figure out what's the best thing. They want to chat, right? Simple thing in the world. I'm going to say, hang on. I just text you a link, right, to my Calendly, in my calendar, and you're going to see everything I have open in the next couple of days. You guys look at your calendars and then just book the time that works for you, right? That's the easiest thing in the world. And then
I'm gonna back you up one step.
Yeah.
To make that even better, if you guys actually engage with Boop, our digital business card tag,
yes,
it'll be even better. And here's why. What Jeff really needs to do is say, hey, tap your phone right here. Boop. That's it. Hey, press that V card that just opened. Cool. Hit save. Great. Now your my number's in your phone. I'm going to text you my Calendly link. Now, why is that important? Because when they get that Calendly link on Monday and their life has happened and the kids didn't sleep well last night and everything is crazy, if they get a text from some random number, they may not even remember that we had that conversation. And it's certainly probably not on their priority list. But if they get a text from Jeff and Jeff shows up as being a contact in their phone, like, oh, yeah, it hits differently than if it's a strange number texting or calling them. I promise you, if you can get your phone number in their phone as a contact, they are far more likely to answer that text or answer that phone call. So now,
that's right.
Now we move forward, right? Now I'm there, and then that Calendly link comes in, because think about the consumer experience too. Now I'm the one getting to select the time that's best for me, and it's only showing times available that Jeff's available. It's just a better client experience.
The other thing too about doing the Boop is my bio's in there. My links to my social media contacts are in there. They can see how they can find ways to connect with me without me even having to do it. They can read my bio that's well crafted to DISEVAK, because I don't really know enough about you yet, but I know that one of you is in there, and you're going to find one of my points of attraction, and then we're going to start talking. Then you're going to be able to click on my Facebook, and you'll be able to see stuff about me and see that my kid had a birthday party, and they play t-ball, and I got to go on a boat, and I like the gators. It's pretty easy to figure somebody out with about a 30-second swipe down with your thumb, right? You pretty much get everything you need to know. So that's perfect. And then, hey, yeah, you want to look at houses? I'd love to show you some houses. Go pick your link. Or from a listing side of the world, saying, look, I'd love to show you what the values are. Here's my link. These are the appointment times I have open. I'll make time for you, but this is what's open. Now, don't I look like a professional now? Because go call your doctor and the doctor's office and say, I really need to get in because you're a badass doctor. I need to see you. The girl says, all right, I've got April 27th or May 4th at 2:30 or 3:42, right? Those are your options. And why are those your only options? Because the guy's damn good or the girl's damn good. And a lot of people want to see them and they're busy and the time is valuable, right? And now your time has become valuable and you've become a professional and you just took control of the conversation. It wasn't them saying, hey, tomorrow at 1:30, you want to show us houses? It's no. These are the times I have, which works better for you. It's a psychological mini switch that changes everything, right? Changes everything. Because when I told you right up front that I'm busy. Now, look, I don't have to have shit going on tomorrow, but the only time I have open on my Calendly thing is 1:30 and 3:30. The rest of the time, I'm going to be sitting drunk at a movie theater. You don't know that, but I just blocked that time off on my calendar, so it's not available to you. The only time available to you is 1:30 and 3:30, and you just assume that I'm super busy the rest of that time. What am I doing the rest of the time? Whatever I feel like doing the rest of that time. But this is the time I have open for you. And guess what? From 5:30 on, I have no open times. Why? Because I actually want to cook dinner and hang out with my kids, right? And it's more important to me than driving your ass around Maitland, right? Not doing it, and not relevant in my life. Not doing it. Now, you might be willing to do that. That's your prerogative, right? Depends on where you are in your stage of career and life as to what's acceptable, what's abusive, what's okay, and what's not okay, right? And what's your customer service level too, because there's some people that says I'm just going to be everything to everybody at all times, no matter what. That works for you. It's fantastic, right? Some of you are like, screw it. I could see you at 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock on Tuesday, and that's it. That's it, right? So it just depends on you. You get to take control, guys. And really, we talk about what puts a big ass smile on your face, and it's about what kind of life do you want to live? Because everything we're talking about right now is you get to control it. You get to decide how successful you are going to be between now and the end of June. You get to decide how much cash goes in your bank account. Nobody else has a say. Nobody else has a say. I mean, how freaking lucky are we and fortunate and blessed to be able to say, this quarter, 100 grand, making it. Every one of you can make it. More than that. You guys can make several hundred grand this quarter. Every single one of you. Exact same level playing field, exact same industry, exact same tools, exact same thumbs to post, exact same everything. You have everything equal. Some of you have more past clients. That's the only thing different, right? But other than that, everything else is the same. How lucky are we? Now, if you're going to squander this quarter and have yourself not make a lot of money, it's dumb. Dumb. Drunk in a movie theater. That explains a lot. Are movie theaters even open? I guess they are, and everything's back
Yeah,
open.
they are. They are.
I haven't been in a movie theater in, God, probably 8-9 years.
Me
I don't think
either.
I've
Yeah.
been in a theater.
Well,
So,
now they stream everything. A lot of the new movies come straight to streaming as well. So I'd rather watch it on my couch.
That's right. Unless you want to go get drunk in one, I guess it's a different story. So, but that's the fun part about this, guys, is just have fun, make money as much as you want of both of those, but just know there's a cost, because it's hard to have a ton of fun and make a ton of money, because you gotta kind of find that balance, because not everything making money is always fun. We all know that. So schedule it. You got to schedule fun too. That one of the last points I want to make is, and you said that, is you've got to schedule life before business, right? If not, you're going to have a miserable life, because you're going to have guilt and obligation riding your world, and that will destroy you from the inside out. Okay. And I know this, right? I was very bad at this, and I would do whatever came up whenever I needed to go do it. I don't do that anymore, right? But there's a time when you're in different building modes where you'll do whatever you got to do whenever you got to do it, because you have a mindset that's not appropriate, right? There's scarcity and abundance, right? When you have a scarcity led mind, there's not enough, right? And so if there's not enough, you've got to take advantage of everything, whenever, wherever, however, because there's not enough. And if you screw this one up, you don't get it, you don't know if there's going to be another one coming, right? And that's a mindset that many people operate in. And the vast majority of the world operates in that mindset. And that's an awareness issue we need to become aware of, because there's nothing further than the truth that there's scarcity. There's not scarcity. There is more of everything in this world than you could ever imagine. There's more business than you could possibly ever have. There's more wealth than you could ever want. There's more love. There's more abundance. There's more fun. There's more experiences than you could ever have. It's impossible to have all of what's floating around. So scarcity, when it creeps into our mind, we have to become aware and throw it away. And then part of abundant living is saying there's another deal. There's always another buyer. There's always another seller. There's always another moment, right? Which means you need to prioritize the ones you really want right now, because you know it's always going to be there. So what's not always going to be there is time with your family, right? And your health. So it's important that we schedule your life in first, right? So what time do you want to be home to spend time with your kids? Schedule it, block it off, don't, and protect it, right? What time are you going to take care of yourself? Schedule it and take care of it. Nothing is able to mess with those 2 times, period, right? That's it. So that's my priority shift for this quarter is I'm putting those in where they weren't in before, because before I was in massive collection mode, not from a scarcity mindset, but from a leveraging opportunity mindset, because I also do know that this market is unusual, is abnormal, and is not going to stay this way. So what you got to blend those 2 thoughts at the same time of total abundance. There's more floating around now than there ever has been and ever probably will be, just because of unique market forces and economic forces that are happening at the moment that are impossible to recreate. So that's why I've been beating the drum of go full throttle, go as much as you can do right now. That's what we need to get done. So
I think once you do blend those, though, it does allow you to then adjust to accommodate the crazy market, right? So I know that if I put in my calendar, hey, from 4:30 to 7:30 is no go for me on Tuesday nights because kids have practice. Great.
Yep.
I block that off. Now I can look at my calendar, though, look at the other meetings, look at the times I have available and say, you know what? I don't have enough time, though, based on that. So what can I do? Well, what times do I have available? Can I get up earlier? Right? Yep. Maybe instead of getting up at 7, I get up at 6. Maybe I get up at 5. Right? So this doesn't mean that you don't make sacrifices. This doesn't mean that you don't go full throttle. But what it does mean is where it allows you to make smarter business decisions. Once I know where my non-negotiables are, where these are the things that I have to do, they're not moving and I'm not willing to give them up. Great. Put those in first. Then I can make really smart business decisions on when can I add in prospecting time? Do I need to wake up earlier? Do I need to stay up later? Those are things now that I can do to accommodate this crazy time period. Right. Because this is a crazy time period. And 2 months from now, it might not be as crazy. You might not need to get up at 5 a.m. or stay up till midnight. Right now, maybe you do, but it still allows you to do the things that are most important to you as well.
That's a huge, huge, huge point. And when markets like this happen, if you have big goals, which you should, right? And I hope you do. And if you need help with them, please let us know, guys. That's what we're really good at helping, but take advantage of it. Because right now, I am up by 5 every day. And I am up late right now. Why? Because my 5:30 till 8:30 time period, those 3 hours for me are golden with my kids, right? But they go to bed and I don't turn on Netflix, right? I go work on shit and I strategize and I follow up with emails and I figure out what I need to go do and I plan my day and I go back and forth with you, right? We're laying out spreadsheets and marketing plans and all kinds of stuff because you got your kid time too. But in the evenings, I can do what I need to do. I get up before anybody else does in my house by hours, and I get a lot of stuff done. So I'll have 3 or 4 hours extra every single day because of getting up early and staying up later. And that's just for me in this particular market, with me prioritizing the rest of my schedule. That works for me. I'm not saying you guys need to do that, but that, to your point, that lets me go do that. Some of you have different stages of life and your 5:30 to 8:30s aren't as critical as mine are right now. And I don't have to. I mean, I could not be home, but I don't want to, because I know the kids are only little once. And before you know it, they're not going to be around 5:30 to 8:30. They'll be in practices or dance classes or hanging out with friends, right? And I actually enjoy this bonding moment of influencing them, right? Because I think that's an important job. So it's fun. So I guess the punchline of what we're talking about is you get to design your life. And I love the quarter by quarter basis because it's not a huge commitment. Right? Between June comes real quickly. June comes very quickly. And my personal schedule this quarter is the last month of this quarter. I'm going to spend a lot of time out of the country because it's on my schedule. They're taking the kids to Germany. See, that's a part of my schedule. which means I only have 2 months to accomplish what I have to do in 3 months. So it's a lot of work, and I have my schedule done as far as when I'm doing what, and what's blocked off, and by when and for how. So, but you do the exact same thing. Now I'm still going to work when I'm not here, right? But it's going to be different time period. It's 6 hour differences, right? So you got to factor all this stuff in. So what I need to get done while I'm here, I'm going to get done while I'm here, and be super productive. But I'm also going to have time with the family. I'm also going to have time with the kids. I'm also going to maintain the business. I'm also going to grow some, and I'm also going to make sure that I have time for myself, right? And now some of my 5 a.m. time is for me. Some of my evening times, instead of doing spreadsheets, I'll go out, be walking the beach, right? Some of I'll do meal planning or whatever it may be, because that's the more priority. So write it out. By June 30th, I am going to have accomplished X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to have earned X. That's your job. And then get to your schedule, block out your times, figure out how many deals you need to go do. Go to Beggins Agents, go in the calculator. It's phenomenal. Mike put together a great program there. And if that's not working for you, reach out to us, reach out to your manager and say, help me figure out my Q3 plan. And then we'll help you figure out your Q3 plan. And I can tell you the short version of it is, here's the secret. It's one good qualified appointment a week, one, right? But it's also you training your brain to understand a looker is not a buyer and a thinker is not a seller. Your job is to find one seller and or one buyer a week. And if you don't have that in your pipeline now, prospect more, right? If you're prospecting and not getting leads, up your skills, right? That's it. It's mindset, skills, and action. So we got to clean up our mindset, increase our skills, and increase our level of action. And there's no other formula than that. So that's my takeaway. So this will be the best quarter in the history of your life, if you let it be, and if you plan it, and if you're committed to making it happen. That's my closing thoughts.
Yep. Go crush it, guys. We're here for you. You have every single thing you need available to you. So go crush it. And if we can help in any way, reach out. We're here.
See you. Bye, guys.
See you guys.